Smiling Friends is one of Adult Swim's top performing shows, and with all the attention it's gotten, there's bound to be lore to discover. So I've gathered the most notable in an iceberg format. The iceberg goes from most known information to least known information. Including entries from 2 icebergs and then some, this is the ultimate comprehensive Smiling Friends Iceberg.
Hello. Hello.
Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack are the 2 creators of the show who have done animation work for years before Pim and Charlie were around. Zach is known online as Psychic Pebbles, who gained popularity on Newgrounds and YouTube with classic videos such as Get Out of My Car. This video has 68 million views. Holy shit, that's crazy. In the show, he voices many characters, most prominently Charlie, but also Glep, the Blibblies, Charlie's grandmother, and Ronald Reagan. If you ever play High on Life, it's possible to discover a goofy cameo of his.
No, well, that's not what they said. They said they picked me. They said I was hotter. Did you say that?
Listen, we're not switching around here. We picked the red guy. That's the direction we're moving in.
Thank you. Thank God. Thank you so much for that changing. I really thought you were going to flake on me. Thank you.
No,
Michael also began his work on Newgrounds and YouTube and had been involved with Adult Swim prior to Smiling Friends. There was his Rick and Morty Australian animation that released on April Fools 2018, and also the 3-season long show YOLO that he created. His second most viewed video on his YouTube channel is of the same name, and with a few more videos continuing the story. In Smiling Friends, Michael voices Pim, Alan, Mr. Frog, and plenty of miscellaneous characters. The credits for Zach and Michael also include writing, directing, and art directing. So, in other words, the show is the brainchild of 2 internet comedy geniuses. As you may know, Smiling Friends is a fairly popular show, but unfortunately there's not a ton of official merchandise. Outside of the t-shirts sold at Hot Topic, the heart of the merchandise stems from websites like Etsy, Redbubble, and SmilingFriendsMerch.com, which seems to be unaffiliated with Adult Swim. With the show releasing fully in 2022, the lack of official merch ultimately makes sense. The main merch for now is the DVD and Blu-ray of Season 1 and Glep plushies. While I didn't recognize the line of dialogue at first, the episode Shrimp's Odyssey has an iconic scene where Charlie helps Shrimp buy some new clothes. During that process, there's this.
How do I look, yellow man?
You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man.
Shrimp's new drip doesn't end up sticking after their visit to the store, but the man ends up pulling at the end nonetheless. DJ Spit is one of the only returning characters not in the core cast. Voiced by Zach, he first appeared in the Frowning Friends episode as an unfortunate victim of the evil Grim and Gnarly's shenanigans. Within our first few seconds with him, he shows off how he's a SoundCloud rapper. Confused by the chaos, the guy ends up having a viral crash out.
Get out of the head! No, nobody's messing your head, man! Nobody's messing your head!
DJ Spit returns in Season 2 as well as a crazed hooligan who steals Alan's paperclips. Homie appears to die as well, which I hope they retcon. I love the guy. Desmond's Big Day Out is the pilot episode of the series, and includes my favorite story. Like any average day at the charity, Pim and Charlie get a call to assist a friend who needs a smile. They come to Desmond's place and discover that the dude is in a crisis mode. So to get him out of his hopeless headspace, Pim takes Desmond to his family's house, a party in the neighborhood, and the exciting Dave Land. Desmond acknowledges the momentary fun that these have, but he brings up a serious question to Pim.
Are the best parts of life really just finding momentary distractions to keep yourself busy so you don't think about the harsh realities of life for a second? I can ride roller coasters, meet new friends, and spend time with my family all day long. It doesn't change the fact that the sun is just gonna explode.
Unable to combat that statement, Charlie and Pim throw in the towel. They enter the office to wrap up Desmond's care when a Blibbly infestation has taken place, and he finds himself taking care of it. This is what Desmond Desmond needed, a purpose in life. And now he seems to have a full-time job that fulfills him. Genuinely kind of wholesome. The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil refers to a special episode which released months after season 1, and to me, it's gotta be the most polarizing episode of the show. You either hate it because they argue in the airport the whole time, or you love it because of that exactly. Originally, I was against it and found it annoying, but watching it again after rewatching the rest of the show and its phenomenal second season, it's totally grown on me. The relatable, awkward, conversational humor throughout the show makes it unique. So in this episode, it's simply at the forefront. In season 1's Mr. Frog episode, the lady at the beginning brings up the pop culture phenomenon known as frog mania. The heart of the excitement was from the Mr. Frog show within the universe that ran for 47 seasons and broke every television record. The public's love for Mr. Frog is what helped him regain his position in the show by the end of the episode, and it helped him become president during the second season. I think now would be a good time to share that, according to Zach and Michael, Mr. Frog is a demon, not a frog. Critters are one of the many species in the world of Smiling Friends. Critters are distinguished from humans by their unusual and wide range of skin tones, lack of ears, and sometimes a lack of a nose. They also come in various shapes and sizes. Critters also appear to have various sub-races, as there are various characters that look similar to Pym, despite some of them not being directly related to him. Now, critters in clothing seem to relate to the presence or lack of genitals and nipples. This is evidenced by how Charlie's private parts are blurred and Charlie dies and doesn't come back, yet Alan can often be seen without clothes, perhaps due to him lacking any sexual characteristics and being abstract shaped, similar to Gleb. However, depending on the occasion, such as traveling to Brazil, visiting a Halloween party, or attending a funeral, Alan can be seen wearing clothes to fit the theme. According to Michael, critters have a notorious hatred for clothing. However, Mr. Boss prefers his employees wearing clothing while on the job for the sake of PR purposes. Since Alan and Gleb rarely leave the confines of the office, they wear much less clothing than Pym and Charlie. The first episode to directly address critters by name is Enchanted Forest, when Mip refers to Pym and Charlie as such.
Thanks, man. You saved us.
No worries. The name's Mip. You two critters must not be from around here.
It seems that at least some type of critters can live for a very long time, as Glep is 1,695 years old, and he isn't even elderly yet. A Reddit user made a chart that nicely displays the different species of the show. The Forest Demon refers to a character in Season 1's A Silly Halloween Special. The boss tells Pym not to travel across the rickety bridge because you'll get lost! But he ended up going anyway because he's just a goofy guy trying to get some firewood. Within the spooky scenery, he comes across a genuinely freaky demon creature that chases him down. Luckily, Pym got back to the headquarters safely, and the Halloween party attendees ended up killing him for blackface. His death is a callback to an Oni Plays video where Zach said that he wanted to make an animation about a mom bringing a chimp home to the dinner table and then kids start pulling the limbs off and eating the poor dude. In the pilot episode, Charlie begins to have second thoughts about supporting Desmond and pulls Pym to the side for a private conversation. This moment is fantastic out of context, so it spawned an amazing meme template on the internet. Here's one of my favorites.
Look, Pym, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Lessons in Meme Culture has a great video on this if you're craving more.
Goblin Quote
is the production studio shown at the end of every Smiling Friends episode, with the exception of the first one. The name of the studio is likely inspired by Zach's love of obscure recorded creatures YouTube videos, as discussed in the official podcast episode titled 26 with Psychic Pebbles.
Goblin caught on camera. A tiny creature was caught on camera. There we go.
It's this video of a baby in a kitchen, and it's a little man running across.
Burnout Revenge for the PS2 is a real video game, and oddly enough, the footage in An Alien Adventure was clearly recorded on an older version of the PCS X2 emulator and not an actual PS2 console, as evidenced by the glitched black skybox seen in the game.
Hello.
Apparently, Zach and Michael confirmed that Pim and Charlie have been dating. However, I could not for the life of me find the two of them talking about that, and Charlie's girlfriend Zoe makes that very unlikely. What is real is that the two of them gave each other kisses multiple times. There's the subject of Charlie's sexuality that we'll get into later, and regardless of whether or not a romantic relationship has happened between the two of them, there's certainly a lot of fan fiction on the internet. The Enchanted Forest is a location used once in the first season. It's a magical place with centaurs, goblins, princesses, and evil creatures such as Mip. Pim was originally excited to go to the Enchanted Forest, but by the end of that episode, I doubt he wants to return anytime soon. Something you'll notice throughout Season 2 of Smiling Friends is that Charlie drinks quite a lot. In Season 2, Charlie gets drunk at Mr. Boss's wedding, then the next day comes in feeling like he's going to puke and says that he can't keep doing this to himself and that something's gotta change. Charlie's also seen drinking at the beach in the Season 2 finale. He's seen drinking in bars in Season 1 and 2, plus at the alien party in Season 2, Episode 6. Charlie's uncle is an unseen character and running gag throughout the show. Despite never making a physical appearance, he is mentioned a few times by Charlie, starting with the episode Mr. Frog.
You know, I had an uncle who killed an entire family in a gruesome drunk driving accident, and he gave away one of those giant check things, and it was totally fine after that.
So, rotoscope is an animation technique seen infrequently throughout Smiling Friends. Rotoscope man likely refers to the man featured in the party scene from the pilot. Other characters in this style include Professor Psychotic partially and his brother Doug, who's portrayed by the YouTuber Joel Haver. Props to Smiling Friends for utilizing great artists from the internet space. I love kids, Charlie refers to a poorly made statement that Pim makes while out on Desmond's porch.
I love helping kids. I love kids, Charlie. I love kids.
While out of pocket, this made for a second memeable moment from the pilot. Pim doesn't really have any other wild quotes out of context, and for him to keep his job, that's probably for the best. Introduced in the pilot, Blibblies are the mean little creatures that infest homes. With how they were represented in the episode, they seem to come from a sussy sack-like egg. Desmond now runs a business exterminating them, and a dead Blibbly is seen in the episode Pim Finally Turns Green. This entry title is likely in reference to Mr. Frog's appearance on Jimmy Fallon. His time on the air is, as you would expect, but it gets real bad at one point in particular.
Like, what was the worst part about, like, the whole ordeal, like, working on your show?
Probably working with all those filthy.
An uncensored version of the clip doesn't exist, but part of the comedy is trying to decipher what he said anyways. In Memory of X refers to the end credits of every episode, where it's shown that someone has passed away and the episode is dedicated to them. All of these are obviously jokes with the silly filtered faces and the dates that make no sense. We'll talk about the most fascinating of these deaths in a later entry. The Century Egg was a Chinese egg and a discontinued fast food mascot of Salty's. The Century Egg didn't sell very well because the public, quote-unquote, wasn't ready for it, so Salty left him chained up in the basement. His last wish was to be buried in his hometown, and the post-credits scene shows that they did just that. They also began to unbury him to eat him. So because of how the first season was launched all on January 9th, the releases of the Halloween episode and Christmas-themed Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back did not coordinate with the real world. Then the Brazil special is set during Mardi Gras, which is usually in February or March, but it didn't air in real life until August. The season 2 Halloween special was in a similar boat, releasing during the summer. Oni Plays refers to the YouTube channel that both Zach and Michael spend time on. It was created by the Irish animator and voice actor Chris O'Neill, aka Oni. A prime example of this channel's huge cultural influence is the Crash Bandicoot Whoa meme, which became viral thanks to Oni Plays around 2017.
You're saying whoa every time you jump, okay?
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Zach is a frequent guest and co-host of the show, while Michael has had guest appearances. Within Smiling Friends, O'Neill voiced Smormu in Shrimp's Odyssey, the auditioning father in Mr. Frog,
I missed my daughter's wedding for this,
the Yeti in Pim Finally Turns Green, and Warren Buffett. He also provided the basic 3D sculpt of Satan, among other various animations, music, and 3D effects. Another Oni Plays friend, Lyle Rath, voiced Jimmy Fallon, Mr. Man, and the video game CEO. Joshua Tomar is part of the Oni Plays crew as well, who we'll talk about later.
Hello, hello.
The Season 1 episode Frowning Friends involves Renaissance Men and the characters of 3D Squelton and DJ Spit, who will all get their respective entries later. The main focus of the episode is a rival organization known as Frowning Friends that intentionally makes people's days worse. The faces of the organization are grim and gnarly, who are basically evil versions of the main characters. They are the equivalent of the devil on one's shoulder, telling critters that their dreams won't come true and they'll be miserable forever. At the end, the two mellow out and are at peace until they get killed, which will be explained in another entry. Mr. Boss is dressed up as Charlie Brown throughout the Halloween special. He also performs a Charlie Brown-like dance with the Frowning Friends moments before they pass away. One user on Reddit decided to bless us with some additional lore. This user believes that the boss is actually Charlie Brown, who lived in an alternate timeline where the Cold War grew out of control. Shrimpina refers to Shrimp's ex-girlfriend in his respective episode. The Smiling Friends originally get the distress call to help the guy because he's been depressed playing Mouse Quest all day now that his relationship with her ended. While Charlie helps him get his life in order, Pim goes out to a coffee shop to find Shrimpina, who he refuses for Jennifer, the cafe worker. At the end, Jennifer gets with Shrimp, but actual Shrimpina was never seen. In terms of censorship, the first 2 episodes still have language censored on HBO Max, with the rest of the show not being bleeped out. The censorship wiki shows that the F word is literally the only word censored on the show when airing on Adult Swim, and it's been censored roughly 60 times throughout the first 2 seasons. Censorship will be brought up more in later entries. After Pim and Charlie arrive at the Enchanted Forest, they meet a magical creature known as Mip, a Bilbo Baggins type character who borderline falls in love with Charlie. On the adventure, we see a rare sight, an angry Pim who's not vibing with how this adventure is going. In an insane turn of events, it's revealed that Mip has been the princess's stalker and his special gift was a f***ing bomb. This dude's a straight up terrorist. When Charlie spent time in the fiery depths of hell, one critter he came across was Jeremy. Introduced to him as a sort of jester of hellish entertainment, he would do this annoying act with Charlie.
Dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. I'm not kidding.
Jeremy tried it a second time, but Charlie was ready for it. Poor Jeremy. Throughout the series, Pim and the rest of the Smiling Friends show a lot of expressive affection towards each other and other people. In the Enchanted Forest episode, this bit gets wackier when Pim decides to kiss his father on the lips.
Oh, I love you, Daddy.
You kissed your dad on the mouth?
Jacob the Goblin first appeared in Mr. Frog, where he tried to audition to replace Mr. Frog's character on the Mr. Frog show. He appeared again in the iconic Enchanted Forest episode as one of the many inhabitants that Pim and Charlie encountered. Simon S. Salty green screen recording likely refers to the ad that plays near the beginning of the episode when Pim and Charlie first enter the restaurant. Salty is one of the only live-action humans present in the show, along with Mr. Frog Lady, Halloween Special Guys, and the guy at the bar. The episode Frowning Friends begins with Charlie reading off his phone that the Renaissance men are coming to town. This bit was entirely ad-libbed. Notably, Zach said that the conversation was recorded late at night after a long workday in real life, and that you can hear how exhausted both he and Michael were in their voices.
Yeah, I was just reading about how the Renaissance men are coming in town.
Who are they? Who's the Renaissance man?
By the end of the episode, the Renaissance men did indeed arrive and killed the antagonist Grim and Gnarly. Everything surrounding their situation is absurd, but it is a great example of their callback style of comedy, which is used multiple times throughout the show, bringing up something absolutely nonsensical at the beginning and then putting it on display for the audience at the end. On January 9th of 2022, Adult Swim released the entire first season of Smiling Friends on their channel, not including the Brazil special. It's weird too because there were plans for a weekly release schedule. Maybe this wacky strategy was done because they considered it experimental. This show wasn't something like Rick and Morty at the time, a staple of the Adult Swim brand. It was okay to try something new here, and in the grand scheme, it didn't negatively affect the show anyway. I mean, we have streaming services dropping entire seasons in a day all the time. This was simply the television channel version of that. Nothing implies that Smiling Friends saved the Adult Swim program from dying, but it did positively bring attention to their brand. So when the first season dropped in 2022, it brought some of Adult Swim's strongest ratings in years, trending heavily on Twitter and pulling in great viewership on HBO Max. I mean, during season 2 especially, I remember it being in the top 10 of shows on HBO Max basically the entire time the season was rolling out. So Smiling Friends pretty much proves that Adult Swim is not a one-trick pony. They are a platform for more than just cartoon reruns and Rick and Morty. Adult Swim's care for the show is awesome to see, as it's already been confirmed for seasons 4 and 5, and there has been excellent promotion for the show since season 1 that we'll discuss later.
Hello.
With post-credit scenes, every season 2 episode has one, and for the first season, only the Salties episode has one. These post-credit scenes are used as jokes and sometimes imply that characters may return one day.
You did it again, James. You pushed away the one guy who actually gave a damn about you.
On April 1st, 2024, Adult Swim did something very creative and aired the Mr. Frog episode entirely redone with puppets. Shrimp's Odyssey was also redone, this time with sock puppets, and then they had Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back done with paper mache. The new content wrapped up by airing the first episode of season 2, and they announced that the rest of the season would begin the following month. Adult Swim bumpers are the wacky animations that play during commercial breaks on the channel. The easiest way to describe them is that they are mini acid trips that kill time until the next episode starts. There's a great variety of Smiling Friends themed bumpers in particular that I highly suggest you put in the background the next time you're hanging out. They could be easily found on YouTube. So to promote the series back in season 1, Adult Swim put up large inflatables around the US. The design is a copy of the headquarters featured in the show, and you can even see Pim and Charlie's outlines inside the building. This was done across 4 different cities. Very well done. In the episode Pim Finally Turns Green, Charlie gets Bill Nye the Science Guy to try and explain the horrifying concept of death to Rotten the Snowman. Unfortunately, Smiling Friends Bill Nye got struck by some power lines and died in his hot air balloon. So since the tragedy, if you ever see actual Bill Nye in conversation, there's a good chance you'll come across a Smiling Friends fan in the comments section. In the episode Shrimp's Odyssey, you'll see Smormoo multiple times. The cold open shows how the public is apparently voting on whether or not Smormoo should join the Smiling Friends crew, and by the end of the episode, the narrator explains that his little goofy ass won and is here to stay. The song that Smormoo sings is a variation of what is known as the Arabian Riff, or the Snake Charmer song. It's been suggested that Smormoo was created to poke fun at characters such as Scrappy Doo or Cousin Oliver, both being created with the intention of boosting their respective shows' ratings to save them from cancellation. And here's the last Smormoo fact for now. He was meant to be the same size as Charlie, but Zach and Michael found it funnier that he was mistakenly drawn the same size as Pim, so it was kept in. Pim died on the inside after Desmond gave his little speech about the meaninglessness of life in the pilot. Even when the episode was wrapping up, he still wasn't normal, and we were blessed with this beautiful image of a close-up Pim. It's almost like an homage to SpongeBob's grotesque, way too close-up camera shot comedy. I want more of this, please. Can we get close-ups of everybody? Gwimbly, maybe? On the platform VR Chat, models of Mr. Frog and Jeremy were created by fans and put in the game. This goes a lot further as well, actually, with Gwimbly having a VR Chat model, Charlie has a good one too, and honestly most relevant characters. It's great. The more I looked into this, the more characters I found. In the episode Shrimp's Odyssey, Pim is seen flirting with Jennifer in the coffee shop when he explains that the one hair on his head is an exposed nerve ending. I'm not sure if that increased his chances of getting with her, but it did make this scene that much funnier. Once Pim arrives at the coffee shop in the same episode, a customer of interest is briefly given the spotlight.
Number 15. Could I get the number 15?
This random goober was voiced by none other than the Burger King foot lettuce guy.
Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce.
Number 15.
His name is Chills on YouTube, and he has 6 million subs. Holy shit, that's amazing. You should subscribe so we hit that number, because if you don't, then foot fungus
might be what you get.
The scene with 3D Squelton in the Frowning Friends episode involves a conversation about balloons, and it's then that Gnarly mentions how the planet will run out of helium within 15 to 20 years.
Dude, I just looked up the helium thing he was talking about. That's true.
The real-life helium situation seems a bit more complicated than that, but regardless, it is a finite resource. Rust is a wildly popular video game developed by Facepunch Studios. It was first released in early access in December 2013 and received its full release in February 2018. It turns out that Charlie is also a fan, as he was seen playing it in Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, and Satan was actually seen playing it as well later in the episode.
Hello.
Joshua Tomar is an Oni Plays friend who's done work on League of Legends, One Punch Man, and Sword Art Online. In Smiling Friends, he has voiced a cop, a centaur in the Enchanted Forest, Gwimbly's nemesis Count Groxia, and most importantly, an elderly Glep. In the promotional material for Salty's restaurant, a family of wacky mascot characters are revealed, and they're not unlike the McDonald's Land mascots. 3 of them, the Fry, the Straw, and this third guy who's probably a chicken nugget, are nowhere to be found in the present day. It's unclear what their status is, but for all we know, they suffered the same fate as the Century Egg. Mr. Boss may have schizophrenia. While under stress, the boss has harmful visions in the Frowning Friends episode, and consults imaginary versions of Warren Buffett, Mr. Peanut, and Ronald Reagan for business advice. He also had the classic oogly goo moment. A fan on Twitter said he believes Smiling Friends is a show about Mr. Boss who is schizophrenic and is imagining the Smiling Friends. While we're talking about the boss, Zach and Michael shared during a Comic-Con panel that he is based on John McAfee. The Season 2 premiere episode introduced the world to Gwimbly, who in their universe is a video game character from the 90s who had 3D platforming games involving cream corn. The real-life internet ran with this, and fans of the show began acting as if Gwimbly was actually their favorite childhood game series, with fake copies of games, and gameplay, and trailers, and even a whole Gwimbly iceberg. The community is creative as hell, and it's great. Make sure you stick around to see the other Gwimbly entry deeper in the iceberg. Meep County is a fictional county that Charlie and Pim live in. It is located somewhere in Pennsylvania, USA, where Zach once lived. With this in mind, the live-action scene with a beat cop in a silly Halloween special has the officer cite the Pennsylvania State Legislature, but the live-action bookends were actually filmed in South Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, in an alleyway a few blocks away from Michael Cusack's home. The term Meep appears in many different places, from the classic Diet Dr. Meep soda to the Meep Foundation. In hell, Satan DoorDashed the food to his place using a service known as Meep Eats, and to find Shrimpina, Pim went to the cafe on Meep Boulevard. Fans have theorized that even Mr. Boss's last name is Meep due to Warren Buffett referring to him as Mr. M. While there is no major Mustard x Charlie fanfiction I was able to find, the romance stems from a moment they shared in the Salties episode, but it will likely go nowhere since Charlie is dating Zoe. Newgrounds is an online platform founded in 1995 that hosts user-generated content such as games, films, and artwork. Both Zach and Michael have contributed to the platform before they began Smiling Friends and still have relevant connections. Therefore, they allowed some Newgrounds friends to have cameos in the show. Jacob the Goblin, who briefly auditions to be the next Mr. Frog, is voiced by El Cid, aka Rodrigo Huerta, who's a former DreamWorks animator. The voice of the Smormu announcer and the male cult worm is YouTube animator Harry Partridge, who also does the voice for 3D Squelton. The alpha male boyfriend of Pim's sister is voiced by Tom Fulp, the creator of the Newgrounds platform. The voice of Crazy Cup from the Simon S. Salty episode is the YouTuber Rice Pirate, and he's the same voice for the old man at the gym and the bug from the Mr. Frog show, and the man who voices Shrimp in Shrimp's Odyssey, and the main UFO conspiracy theorist is David Firth, the man who created Salad Fingers. Other internet friends didn't make it until season 2, such as comedian Doug Walker, who's the face of Nostalgia Critic, popping up in live action, and Rich Evans of Red Letter Media playing one of the alien dude bros. There's a few more internet personalities of interest in the show who will pop up in later entries. In the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty, Charlie mentions that he has gone to Salty's since he was a homunculus.
What? Have you really never been to Salty's? Dude, you're gonna love this place. I've been coming here since I was a homunculus.
This potentially means that Charlie is part human, though it could be a humorous way of simply saying child. I was honestly not sure what this entry was in reference to, so I'll share this instead. The exterior of the office is a yellow smiling face, an extremely common image that is referenced in many of Michael's works prior to Smiling Friends, such as in the intro to Bushworld Adventures, among many more instances. There's no definitive version of a 3D GLEP, as that has yet to appear in the show. However, there is an awesome Adult Swim bumper that features a 3-dimensional GLEP. Also available is an awesome 3D model of him on Sketchfab and a plethora of 3D printable GLEPs available for anybody to get. Some of them include his beanbag chair as well, a very nice addition. When I get a 3D printer, that will obviously be the first thing I'm doing. In the episode Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, Charlie is brought out from the depths of hell by God, who's voiced by the late Gilbert Gottfried. This episode is the only one where God has been seen so far, and this was one of Gottfried's last roles before he passed away in 2022.
I hope you learn from this cool experience. Merry Christmas!
According to Zach, the budget for the entire first season, which consisted of 8 11-minute episodes, was equivalent to that of one Family Guy episode. So in other words, $2 million. Earlier, I mentioned how every episode has a silly in memory of blank shot at the end of the credits. Perhaps the most interesting one is the one displayed after Shrimp's Odyssey, where it's shown that Smarmoo has passed away. It is then that we see his full name. Seems like someone on the team is a fan of American presidents.
Hello.
There's one point in hell where we see a montage of Charlie walking through the rough terrain to find Satan. We briefly see a creature that is definitely inspired by a cucko demon from the Doom series. This is probably an intentional little reference. If you didn't pick up on it already, Charlie is dating a human woman named Zoe. And I didn't realize this until researching for this video, but he may be bisexual or pansexual, as he reciprocated Pym's attempt to seduce him in Enchanted Forest and kissed Pym on the head in an Alan adventure. The title of this entry is misleading, as there is no record of Smiling Friends being a web series before it was on television through Adult Swim. That being said, the previously mentioned YOLO show from Michael was a web series, and the same goes for Hellbenders by Zach and Chris O'Neill. They actually pitched that show to Adult Swim, but were turned down because Adult Swim already had 2 shows involving hell. So while Smiling Friends wasn't a web series, it is a clear embodiment of online culture and proof that a niche corner of the internet could make for great television. James Rolfe is commonly known online as the angry video game nerd, and there's a rumor that he voiced Satan. This isn't true, as it was actually Zach Hadel who voiced Satan. There's a war going on in the Smiling Friends universe. There's footage of an attack in the episode Mr. President, which also reveals it seemingly started because of Mr. Blingo, who is the Prime Minister of Blingo. According to Charlie, he was pretty bad.
He wiped a whole race of people off the face of the planet.
Also, in Brother's Egg, Alan wanted to watch the updates on the war. Plus, in the episode The Boss Finds Love, in Charlie's recommended section on YouTube, there's a video called The Critter War Every Day. Unfortunately, even the whimsical world of Smiling Friends isn't safe. In the pilot episode, Charlie and Pym are checking out a little alien guy on TV, and at one point, Pym gets disappointed.
You missed it.
What?
Oh, just, the character did a spin. It was like a cool spin. It was the whole reason I was showing it to you, but yeah.
I never noticed this originally with the camera change, but the dancing 3D alien does indeed do a spin. The Fun Twins are a pair who make their appearance in Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. They are two fast food mascots for Salties that speak by producing high-pitched, fast-paced babbling noises. Despite this, Pym understands them perfectly.
Well, that's a nice story and all, but it doesn't really answer my question.
They have been confirmed to be Spamtopian, which is a race of people that got a dedicated episode in Season 2. The Fun Twins are most likely based off of the McDonaldland mascots, the Fry Kids. So the title of this entry is actually incorrect. When looking at the polling for the Smormu vote, the graphs show that Smormu lost the electoral vote by 1%, but won the popular vote by 1%. With this data, this was considered a win for Smormu, and he was added into the end of Shrimp's Odyssey as a minor gag. In the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton also technically won by popular vote just like Smormu, and part of her campaign was the slogan, "I'm with her," which is on the t-shirt that he's wearing. For the end credits, the font they originally intended to use was Comic Sans, but they were unable to acquire the rights to use it. Also, Chris O'Neill mentioned that the notes in the show's ending theme were made up by him hitting random keys on the music program as the original theme played. They fit well together and was in line with the zany, jarring nature of the show itself, so it was left in. At the end of episode 2, when the public once again loves Mr. Frog, there's a very subtle detail that reveals DJ Spit uploaded the Mr. Frog is Back video. Chances are he probably voted for him too. Pym becomes green likely is in reference to the season 2 finale titled Pym Finally Turns Green. The description of the episode is as follows. After eating a mysterious artifact found at an ancient burial ground, Pym mysteriously turns bright green, concerning his friends and rivals. At first, everyone is horrified, but eventually they learn to accept and love the new green Pym in the season 2 finale. Yeah, this is misleading, as the plot has nothing to do with this and is instead a holiday episode with Rotten the Snowman. The episode title is a reference to the early development stages of Smiling Friends, where Pym was originally set to be colored green before it was decided that primarily seeing green and yellow looks like puke. Zach stated on the Blu-ray commentary for Desmond's Big Day Out that he still hopes to one day make Pym green, hence the name and plot synopsis. So while Pym doesn't actually turn green in the episode, he does wear a green sweater throughout. "3D Squelton" is the name of a character Pym and Charlie come across in Frowning Friends. He's found at a playground whining and being weird looking.
Boo-hoo! Boo-hoo-hoo!
He says he wants to be a balloon maker, and the two encourage him to get his license. But Grim and Gnarly come down and ruin his day.
Hello.
In the episode Mr. Frog, when the YouTube video showing Mr. Frog's return appears, if you look to the right at the recommended videos, you can see that the channel The Fun Twins uploaded a video called "The Government is Lying to All of You Part 17. It's pretty cool, as the Fun Twins don't actually appear until 3 episodes later, and while we're at it, Professor Psychotic also has a channel which can be seen in The Boss Finds a Love. While lounging in the spaghetti disco in the first season, Charlie and Shrimp enjoy some spaghetti alcohol. This is the only time the drink has made an appearance so far. In the Enchanted Forest episode, it's shown that Charlie ended the 1,000-year war between the aliens and the spiders and is awarded a crown for his great bravery. In the season finale, Charlie was supposed to take a hit from a vape pen at the beginning. Satan taking a hit from his own vape pen later in the episode was meant as a callback to this, showing that the two characters are stuck in similar depressive funks. Due to Adult Swim being partnered with an anti-vape company, higher-ups objected to this. Charlie vaping had to be cut entirely, and Satan was only allowed to vape after the smoke he blew out was changed to the color red. This situation was mentioned in a discussion on the Create Unknown podcast with Zach and Michael. In the pilot, Alan finds a hole in the wall and goes inside to find where the Blibblies took his cheese. In there, he discovers a dude on the computer just like living there who lacks self-awareness of how ridiculous the situation is.
By the way, for the record, you should probably knock or make yourself known next time you enter someone's place.
I was shocked to discover that Finn Wolfhard voiced the guy, the actor of Stranger Things and It fame. Very cool. He also voiced some of the Blibblies. His brother Nick Wolfhard also voiced Blibblies. The guy in the walls was seen again in the trailer for season 3 as a dead body. Gotta be honest, I'm not exactly sure what Mr. Frog is real refers to, so here's my best guesses. During a San Diego Comic-Con panel, Zach mentioned that the real people behind Mr. Frog are a mixture of celebrities that get themselves into public controversy and the supposed wake-up schedule of late journalist Hunter S. Thompson. Apparently, there were a lot of drugs involved. Other Mr. Frog truths include that he and the Blibblies were conceptualized before Pim and Charlie. And here's a scientifically accurate Mr. Frog made by a fan. Mr. Boss top surgery refers to how the boss had breasts in the pilot, yet later in the first season, he appeared shirtless without breasts. Fans believe it's because he was lactating when he had his child, or that his breasts are some sort of detachable thing, but the real answer is that Smiling Friends is a whimsical, absurdist comedy. Though this is most likely coincidental, the grease puddle's face bears a resemblance to the art style of Stone Toss, a right-wing political cartoonist infamous for inadvertently making the Among Us internet meme. Wingon is the language that Glep speaks. While it sounds like gibberish, everyone at the office understands him perfectly.
Gleb, why would you vote for Mr. Frog? Our job was to help President Jimbo.
Oh, okay,
yeah. No, good point.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
While researching for this video, I discovered that Shrimp's Odyssey is actually not Smormoo's first appearance. In the Mr. Frog episode, it's seen that he also has a YouTube channel. Isn't that fun? The title of the episode Shrimp's Odyssey is a reference to Worm Odyssey, a non-existent SNES game frequently mentioned by Zach on Oni Plays.
The first game to ever have a Rumble feature was Worm Odyssey for the SNES.
Pim eating worms at the beginning of the episode is based off a promise Zach made on Oni Plays through the in-game chat of Worms Reloaded, in which he claimed he would put a worm in episode 2. Mr. Frog serves as the second episode in the series, which features a worm in Mr. Frog's animal sanctuary. However, it was the first of the new episodes to be produced. Shrimp's Odyssey was the second in terms of production order, so either way, a worm made it into episode 2. Originally, Pim was going to die and go to hell in the season finale, but Zach and Michael decided it would make more sense for Charlie to undergo such a journey, given his more lazy and indifferent nature.
Well, let's go back to the office. We just need you to sign some paperwork that says we failed to make you smile, and then you can, do what you gotta do.
Hello.
With Mr. Boss and music, We Get to Play is a song he sang in Season 2's Halloween special after he was freed by Britney's curse.
I know 4 employees that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see them more, 'cause we make people smile all day. We get to play.
The song is a spoof of one originally sung by Carly Fiorina when she was announced as Senator Ted Cruz's running mate during the 2016 US presidential campaign, performing it to Ted Cruz's 2 daughters at a rally.
I know 2 girls that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see them more.
The boss also sings for a moment at Charlie's funeral.
Charlie, what does it mean? Charlie, you were my everything. World's up, man.
In the background of Shrimp's room, we can see he has some interesting collectibles. By his door, he's got big Fortnite figurines, with some of them being pretty obscure skins in the game. Funko Pops are present as well, such as Master Chief, Squirtle, and my favorite, Mr. Frog. Marge Simpson is Glep's wife, who occasionally appears throughout the show. She first appears in a silly Halloween special dressed as Nancy Reagan and is seen holding Glep, who's dressed up as Ronald Reagan. She also makes an appearance at the end of Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, standing next to Glep at the funeral. In the episode Pim Finally Turns Green, she plays volleyball at the beach and later finds out that Rotten the Snowman became the ocean. And this one is pretty wild. There's a photo visible above the fireplace at the end of Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, where she is standing next to Glep in the Oval Office. Funny enough, the artist who drew the photo accidentally drew the Simpsons character instead of her before being informed that Marge Simpson was also her name. In the Salties episode, Grease's voice is a clear parody of Chris Chan's and was originally set to be voiced by him during the episode's development. But Zach held off on actually contacting him until everything else in season 1 was finished due to concerns he'd break a non-disclosure agreement. By the time Chris Chan could be casted, the budget for celebrity guest stars had run out, so YouTuber Harry Partridge played the role instead. Also of relevance is that Chris Chan was arrested for repeatedly sexually assaulting his elderly mother, who is suffering from dementia, in the name of quote-unquote soul bonding during the production of the episode in summer 2021. While Rolf didn't end up voicing Satan, as he probably didn't have enough time, he did have a real-life cameo when Charlie first passed away. Mike Stocklesa of Red Letter Media also had an IRL cameo in that portion of the episode, along with voicing Desmond in the pilot and one of the alien bro dudes in season 2. Smiling Friends appears to take place in a different political timeline to ours. In the beginning of Mr. President, Pim states that President Ross Perot won re-election in 1996 in a major upset, which didn't happen in our reality. While Charlie walks past these heads in hell, a Simpsons reference was supposed to take place with this guy who was supposed to say, "Don't forget you're here forever," to Charlie, who would respond with, "You stole that from The Simpsons, I literally just watched that episode last night." The line the head speaks came from a season 6 Simpsons episode. In the final version, this interaction was changed to,
"I'm sorry, I couldn't think of anything to say."
Nah, there's no pressure, man. It's all good. You didn't have to say anything.
Because Zach and Michael thought that not many people would get the reference. On the subject of The Simpsons, it's worth noting that episode 3 of Smiling Friends is Shrimp's Odyssey, and episode 3 of Simpsons is Homer's Odyssey. A user on Reddit pointed out that a picture of Grim and Gnarly of the Frowning Friends are up on a wall in Desmond's house. The resemblance is there, but some also consider it too generic to call it them. Food for thought. Adult Swim made the creators slow down a scene of a dancing Blibbly to prevent potential seizures. And on the subject of fast movement, Mustard was supposed to give Salty a BJ, slightly off screen, with the joke being that she was doing her thing impossibly fast. The network axed this, and the joke was later reused with Charlie's grandma and a lollipop. At the end of the pilot, Pim's depression never gets resolved or referenced after the fact. However, there is a phenomenal fan-made episode that picks up after the pilot and shows Pim getting out of his depression. When looking into Mutahar and Smiling Friends, the only consistency is that this character, who briefly appears in Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, resembles Mutahar from the YouTube channel Some Ordinary Gamers. The green branding of the channel and the character's attire certainly adds to that connection. In the same episode, a swarm of devilish Blibblies are seen briefly. It's unknown whether they are inherently demons from hell. Desmond sent them there through his services. So in the Salties episode, it's revealed that everybody had a hand in harming Salty, but the initial thing that killed him was the burger he ate, which gave him a heart attack.
My final burger. After today, I'm gonna start eating healthy. My heart. Oh.
Fans have pointed out that, in a way, it's the grease from the fast food that gave him the heart attack. Therefore, it is said that Grease Puddle is the murderer who violently murdered Simon S. Salty.
Hello.
When Charlie finds his grandma in hell, she explains why she's there.
Grandma, what are you doing here?
Oh, I cursed and said, damn, in 1958 when I saw your grandfather being shot in the head by that rotten burglar.
That seems a little bit unreasonable. I don't think you should be in hell for that.
While that's apparently why she's in hell specifically, she died in the first place due to eating a peanut.
Would you like a peanut?
No, I'm all good, man. My grandma actually passed on from eating a peanut, so I don't really mess with that kind of stuff.
In the podcast The Create Unknown, Zach made the connection between Charlie's grandma's death and Mr. Peanut, implying she was a victim of the toxic peanut scandal, where he had laced his products with toxic pesticides. This was revealed when Mr. Boss consulted some imaginary characters in his office. In early 2017, Zach and Michael conceived the idea of a show titled Little Helpers, inspired by South Park and Seinfeld, while dining in a Californian chicken restaurant. This show was to feature, quote, a group of lovable characters with a simple kind of concept, which we could take anywhere we wanted to. The premise of these characters working at a hotline for unhappy people became the, quote, connective tissue there that made it all click together. Images and videos of this concept were posted in June 2017, and the first character shown in the concept's Gremblo became well known for a few months. Ultimately, all references to him and Little Helpers got wiped from Twitter sometime in 2018. When checking out this poster, there appears to be early versions of Mr. Boss and his son Jason. At the bottom, there's this character who looks a lot like Charlie's girlfriend Zoe. Here's the Gremblo character. Here's a dude named Mike, and someone similar to the blue janitor dude that we'll talk about in a deeper entry. In the scene where Charlie, Pim, and Desmond visit Pim's family home, we can see a picture of Pim's unnamed brother who appears to be in the army hanging on the wall. According to Zach, he is fighting in Afghanistan, which explains why he wasn't present. So the Glabgo Gabgalab is a character from a Christian children's movie from 2012 titled Stravinsky and the Mysterious Home. He lives in a basement filled with books because he loves books.
I am the Glob Glow Gabgalab, the Schwabble Dabble Wabble Gabble Flibber Blabber Blab. I'm full of schwibble glibber kind. I am the yeast of thoughts and mind.
One scene of this film in particular became a meme back in 2018. Thus, in season 1's Mr. Frog episode, he does a meet and greet in a bookstore called Glabglow's Books, which is a clear nod to the meme. In the pilot, there was supposed to be a dirty beach with dead dolphins during their time running around with Desmond, showing him the wonders of life. A dead dolphin did end up making its way into episode 2 in Mr. Frog's Animal Sanctuary. When we see Pym's vision with Jennifer in Shrimp's Odyssey, during the scene where they're watching one of their kids get married to who appears to be the rotoscope guy from the pilot, or maybe it's his kid, we see a much older Charlie sat down holding hands with a woman. This is the same woman who can be seen massaging the boss in episode 5. Things are a little strange since this is Pym's vision, because the other characters aged, but she looks the exact same, and the vision for Charlie is odd given how he's dating Zoe, yet she's not present. Fillmore and Duncan are two members of the UFO group in season 2, but they're actually seen prior to this episode back in season 1 when we see the Halloween party. You can see Fillmore and Duncan in the back. I had no idea until I was making this, so that's a really cool connection. Daniel Larson is an internet oddball to say the least.
I'm friends with the Tickle Monster. By the way, I also sleep right here, so Tickle Monster, come and find me.
And after the premiere of the Gwimbly episode, people noticed some similarities between Gwimbly and this Daniel Larson.
Ruby, roll.
Ew, ew, ew.
This is a message to Quandale Dingle. Please stop messaging me. Go to hell.
And I'm seeing her, I should also tell Tyler to go to hell. I don't know who Tyler is or what that means, but
You guys want to blame me for everything! It's not my fault!
We just blame you for the hoses for the new wall.
Ew.
Being that they kind of sound and somehow kind of look similar, I get it. Whether this was intentional or coincidence, this was an awesome find nonetheless. Lucas the Magnificent refers to the YouTube channel Glep is watching in the pilot. The video in particular is titled What a Lovely Day, and the channel focuses on a neckbeard character that Michael created on YouTube over 10 years ago. The channel has 3,000 subs, and if you look at the original comments, you can see that no one knew it was Michael until this episode. Lucas is also the name of the neckbeard guy in YOLO Crystal Fantasy, Michael's other show. The blue janitor dude is a nameless scrapped character of the show. His first appearance was slated to be in Desmond's Day Out. He was originally planned to be the actual 5th Smiling Friend, working as the janitor for their office. Apparently, his entire character gag would have been that he just made things dirtier. The color blue, seen on the show's logo and credits, was likely intended to signify the blue janitor dude. When we first see Shrimp in Shrimp's Odyssey, he's playing Mouse Quest, and his username can be seen. Interestingly, later in the season 2 premiere, when they visit the video game company, there's a TV in the background showing Mouse Quest gameplay, and the username in the footage is Shrimp's username. This is a sweet reference to season 1. On Reddit, a user mentioned that in Depressed Pym's full render from the pilot episode, his pee-pee can be seen. It's not super detailed, but I am gonna blur it here on YouTube just in case. But you know what? If you can't resist, I'll put a link to it in the description below. While we're at it, his big pepperoni nipples can be seen through his shirt. In Glep's earliest rendition, he originally came equipped with a wizard staff, but obviously in the modern Glep design, the wizard motif is represented with his hat instead. This concept art was gold to discover, and I would love to see them reference this original concept for the show one day. Wizard staff Glep, blue guy, and this Loch Ness monster styled Alan. This wacky character, who we'll call Creepy 3D Pac-Man, was originally a stand-in for the dancing alien dude on the TV. This was revealed through a tweet from Zach. If you don't know what a homunculus is, it is when you put the seed of a man and inject it into a chicken egg, and then a little monster comes out. It's kind of an urban legend. It's not a real thing. I hope it's not a real thing. But anyways, in the episode Brother's Egg, when Pim and Charlie first meet Professor Psychotic, he is attempting to create a homunculus from an egg when his experiment fails and this little worm creature pops out. And then he crushes it with a book. This is a clear reference to the old YouTube video Homunculus 2, where a Russian man is attempting to create a homunculus from a chicken egg and a little worm pops out which he crushes with a book.
Так. Угу. Так, ну что можно сказать? Ну, вроде бы он у нас мертвый. Движение появилось. Похоже, он пришел в себя. Любопытно. Блядь!
DJ Spit originally was supposed to have visible pubic hair, but the network objected to this. The objection was not made, however, until the episode had already been fully animated, meaning that someone had to go through each individual frame and edit them. Zach joked that if there had been more time, he would have found the person tasked with this and credited them as Pube Eraser. So, I sure as hell didn't see this one before. In the end of the Salties episode, all the mascot characters run away and cause chaos. Something a little hard to notice is that Salt and Pepper are banging each other right there in the middle of the street. It's not a huge deal, as they've been openly romantic in the episode, but, you know, they should do that in private, like, come on. The Season 2 episode An Allen Adventure was nominated for an award at the Annecy Film Festival 2024. Oddly enough, the banner for it on the website uses an image that's not from the episode, and while it has Mr. Frog, it's not from his episodes either. Nonetheless, it's cool that the episode got recognition. The only hidden lore I can find on the dancing alien was that he was made by Chris O'Neill in Blender and voiced by Zach when he pops out of the TV.
Jesus Christ, what is that? What is that?
I don't know.
Alan,
What?
grab it. Grab it.
I'm not gonna grab that.
Now,
You grab it.
Get it now.
Mip's hidden stalker personality and goal to kill the princess with a bomb are likely a reference to Ricardo Lopez, better known as the Bjork Stalker, a man who in 1996 attempted to kill Icelandic singer-songwriter Bjork by sending a bomb to her and then recorded himself unaliving himself by gunshot to the mouth. Zach had mentioned Lopez several times on the Sleepy Cabin podcast and Oni Plays. At Charlie's funeral, a mystery character was present. This same guy can also be found in the crowd at the end of the Frowning Friends episode. One user on Reddit suggests that he is the Mr. Boss equivalent at the Frowning Friends establishment. Whatever the relationship is, he's clearly close, as he was also present at the boss's wedding in season 2, and while we're at it, he appeared naked on the beach during that season's finale. In the pilot, Pim and Charlie meet with Mr. Boss, who introduces his son and begins to breastfeed him. At one point, he gets bitten and it interrupts his flow.
Ow! Hey, no biting. Hey, no biting. Okay?
This moment is a spot-on reference to an old video from Zach's channel that has since been taken down, where a father yells at his tiny son for biting his nipple. Alan sometimes appears twice in the credits, as Alan with one L and Alan with two L's on platforms such as Microsoft Movies. Subtitles also alternate between these two spellings. The most logical explanation can be interpreted from Zach, who's said in commentary that he thought it was spelled with two L's, so they went with that, only to find out it was spelled with one L, but they kept it in anyways. There's also the more fun explanation. Alan has clear moments of not remembering things he's clearly done, such as when Charlie accuses him of nose nomming.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but the last time we hung out, like you and I, you actually sucked on my nose, so.
What? I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, you
sucked on your nose.
Yep, yeah, you absolutely.
One could imagine Alan just has a poor memory, but this flies in the face of the abundant evidence indicating he's extremely intelligent.
Some brains up there, did you know that?
I know. Yeah, well, who do you think built the boss's rocket boots?
It's possible that there are two identical characters named Alan and Alan with two L's, who alternate the same job and live in the same home, and everyone assumes they're the same person. Or perhaps Alan with two L's is an alternate personality to Alan with one L, and he swaps between the two. This last theory is supported when he's seen playing chess against himself. There's discussion on this on Reddit if you're interested. And while on the subject of Alan, his last name is Red. So as we know, Smormu was the fifth Smiling Friend for 2 seconds before he passed away. Except he may still be alive. The most promising argument for this I found is called the Smormu theory, suggesting that in season 2, the character Jumbo, who scammed Charlie into overpaying for a cool knife, is actually Smormu. Their body type is similar, and funny enough, listen to what Charlie has to say.
Tim, I'm telling you, man, I think this could be the fifth Smiling Friend, Jumbo. Pim, Charlie, Alan Glove, Jumbo.
So Polybus is an internet urban legend of an old arcade machine that gave children nightmares and seizures, and as the story goes, players would remain addicted to the machine until they would meet their demise. This arcade game was used as a way to spy on people in Portland, Oregon, and spooky men in black were involved. Again, it's an urban legend. In the pilot episode, when they go to the Daveland arcade, in the background you can see an arcade machine that clearly references what the Polybus machine supposedly looked like. This reference also wasn't put in there by Zach or Michael, but instead it was added by a background artist. In episode 4, when Pim runs into the Halloween party as the forest demon is being burnt alive, you may notice that Glep's eye has a white box around it. This isn't seen anywhere else in the episode, and it's likely a mistake that no one noticed, but it is still there. Here it is, our last entry. In episode 1, in the commentary for Desmond's Big Day Out, Zach and Michael bring up the fact that a giant sleep paralysis demon was hidden in the background of Desmond's house at a very low opacity. Apparently no one noticed, and this adds to how Zach would hide demons in his Hellbenders project. If you go back to the episode right now, you can see it as they walk through Desmond's hallway. And there you have it. That was the Smiling Friends Iceberg. Thank you guys so much for watching. I put a lot of time into this, so if you liked it, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you again soon.